The output question, what will be produced, what we really mean is what type of goods will we produce? And there's only two types. A consumer good is defined as goods purchased for personal use. Give me an example of a consumer good. Food.
Groceries,
Groceries,
toothpaste,
toothpaste,
clothes,
clothes. I mean, it's everything on our shopping list, right? We're buying it to use it, right? The other type of good, economists will call that a capital good. There's that word again. Capital, we should know what that means by now. Capital good is a good that's used to produce a consumer good. A little bit trickier question. Give me an example of a capital good.
machine.
Yeah, maybe a machine, like our pencil making modern marbles machine, right? Nobody buys one of those, I mean, except the business that's gonna use it to make the consumer good called pencils, right?
The tool.
So it could be a lot of things, right? Like a pickup truck, if it's owned by the business to make deliveries, it would be a capital good, right? A cash register, the sign out in front of the store, those are goods they bought to help them produce or sell their consumer goods. Now, if you or I would buy a pickup truck, in that example, it would be what?
Of consumer goods.
Consumer goods, because we're buying it to use it. Alright, so some things could be either one, depending on what the purpose they were purchased for, but there's really, this is it, there's only two types of goods, consumer goods and capital goods. So when we ask the output question, what will be produced, what we're really asking is what types of goods, consumer goods or capital goods. So I have an idea. Here's my idea, see how you like it. Let's forget capital goods completely. Let's make 100% consumer goods. What's wrong with that plan?
You can't make consumer goods without capital goods.
Yeah. You need the capital goods, you need the tools of production to produce the consumer goods, right? That was a dumb idea, my bad. I got a better idea. Forget consumer goods, let's make 100% capital goods. What's wrong with that plan?
Then there's no consumer goods.
That's pointless, isn't it? The whole point of a capital good is to make consumer goods, so that was an even dumber idea, my bad.
It's okay.
So the obvious where I'm going with this is you can't make 100% of either one. So now we're boiling down the output question even further. The output question is really asking what percentage of consumer goods to capital goods is ideal? What combination would be best? Is it 50-50, 60-40, whatever? Well, let's boil it down even further. What we're really asking, follow with me now, this will make sense if you have your brain engaged. It really comes down, the output question comes down to a question of spending versus saving. Now you're not gonna understand this lesson if you don't get your brain in gear. This will make sense if you do.
My brain hurts.
It won't if you're drifting. Here's what an economist means by spending. When we are spending, we are buying consumer goods. That's what's on our shopping list, right? Whether it's food, clothes, cars, whatever goods and services that we buy on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, we're buying them to use them. That is a personal good, isn't it? That's called spending. Here's what a saving means to economist. When we're saving, we are in effect, quote unquote, buying capital goods. Let me explain. When we're saving, usually where do we have our money?
Bank.
In the bank. How is putting your money in the bank, how is that buying a capital good?
Because don't they use your money?
Yeah, remember that? The bank, the financial market, is gonna lend our deposits to the business firm. That money would be called financial capital. What's the business firm gonna use the financial capital for?
To make
make
real
good.
cash.
To
buy
purchase real capital. What is real capital?
Stuff.
The tools of production. So by putting our money in the bank, that's what we mean, where that money isn't just sitting there, it's gonna be used to buy the tools of production, to buy capital goods. So we're buying one or the other at all times, right, as consumers. When we are spending our money, well, we're buying consumer goods. When we're saving our money, we're buying capital goods, because that's where it's gonna be used for, right? So based on what we've learned earlier this year, this makes sense, doesn't it? So, here we go, let's take the whole question, the output question, and boil it down from the beginning to what we got so far. Output question, what will be produced? What we really mean is what combination of consumer goods to capital goods is best, because you can't produce 100% of either one for obvious reasons. Alright, so that's a question of spending versus saving. When we're spending, we're buying consumer goods, obviously. When we're saving, we're buying capital goods. Any question on the question? Now let's answer the question. The output question, let's answer it. Remember, there's only two ways to answer it. How would a command economist answer this question?
Oh, is theirs by fairness, or is theirs by equal?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Wait, I'm trying to remember.
Remember, there's command economists and market economists. We mentioned those yesterday. How would a command economist answer the output question? What should we produce? Consumer goods or capital goods? Command economist always says it's up to who?
Up to the,
Government.
It's up to the government, some way or another, right? So the command solution to the output question says that some person, I don't know, the king, the premier, the president, the chief, the big cheese, the head honcho, the dictator, whatever you wanna call them, somebody in charge, or a committee, or the parliament, or the Congress, or some agency, or some group of people, somebody in the government will decide, because after all, to a command economist, the government always knows best. Alright, what do we know? In the private sector, big daddy government knows best. So the government will decide what proportion of consumer goods to capital goods would make our economy work best. Command economy, planned economy, planned by someone or someones in the government. That's one solution. The other solution to the output question is the market solution. The market solution always says, let,
the people?
come on,
The market work.
let the market work, thank you. Let's try that again. Let
The
market work, that's better. Now my indoctrination is getting somewhere.
Yeah.
So here's what let the market work means in this situation. The market economist will tell the command economist, you crazy. We don't need the government to decide the answer to this question, just let the market work. And in this situation, on the output question, letting the market work means interest rates will regulate the money flow to equilibrium. Write it down and then say, huh? Hey, what? rates. How's that letting the market work? Well, stay tuned. Buckle up, you ready?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna explain it to you. As soon as I find a piece of marker. Alright, let's see, I gotta make sure I'm on screen here. That's not gonna be enough. Look over here. What's that?
FM, for
Fine.
Myers.
Not Fort Myers,
Financial
Financial
market.
market.
the financial market, right? So the banks, right? Follow along, this will make sense. That says low. Interest rates are low. Now I gotta do some explaining, cause when I was in high school, I probably didn't quite get this, so let me explain it. When interest rates are low for borrowing money, that's good news, right? Cause when you borrow money and you have to make payments on your loan, the payments will be lower, cause interest rates are low, right? That's the good news. The bad news of low interest rates means that when you save money, put it in the bank and save it, they will pay you very little interest.
Yep.
See, interest rates for borrowing money and for investing money go together, up and down. You with me so far?
Yes.
So if interest rates are low, which they are sometimes, well, the arrow means therefore, or cause and effect, or that's gonna bring about something to happen, right? Who's that?
Household.
The households, that's us consumers, right? If interest rates are low, would you be more likely to borrow and spend money, or to put it in the bank and save it?
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be better ideas, buy something expensive now, right? Something that you have to make payments on. Why would that be a good idea now? Because your payments will be lower. So maybe you were waiting to buy a new car, or some new furniture, or a new entertainment system, or whatever, new boat, something you're gonna have to make payments on, and interest rates are low. Good time to spend. Not such a good time to save, is it? By the way, when we spend, what are we buying?
Consumer
There
goods.
you go, now we're getting somewhere. When we save, what are we buying?
Capital goods.
Capital goods, well, we're not buying capital goods when rates are low, are we?
No.
I mean, some people will be, but the majority of households, because rates are so low, they'll be more likely to, okay, I've been waiting for rates to go down, keep my payments down, I'm ready to buy a new car, or whatever. Therefore, cause and effect. Who's that?
Business firm.
Business firms. Alright, so let's say we're talking about Best Buy. There's long lines at Best Buy now, people buying appliances and entertainment systems and everything at Best Buy. Well, because they're gonna finance it, they're gonna make payments, and its interest rates are low, so there's a long line at Best Buy, right? So the business firm, in our examples Best Buy, they need to borrow money so they can buy more inventory and keep more TVs and refrigerators on the floor, because people are buying them. So the only way they can do that is to borrow money to buy more inventory. You with me?
Mhm.
Demand is the act of
Buying.
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 They gotta keep up with all the people buying. So now we're back to the banks, right? The financial market. All of a sudden, all the business owners in town, Best Buy and car dealers and they're all lined up at the bank, wanting to borrow money. The bank needs money to lend out. That's how the bank makes money, right? By lending money. You knew that, right? That's how banks make money. They loan it, and it gets paid back with interest. So now the bank, all of a sudden, everybody wants to borrow their money, all the business owners wanna borrow their money, so they need money to loan. So to get us to put our money on deposit, what will they do to interest rates, to entice us?
Raise them.
Yeah. So they raise the interest rates. When the interest rates go up,
We stop spending.
yep, I think you're catching on. All of a sudden, as interest rates grow up, we're less likely to borrow and spend, make payments on expensive things because, you know, I've been wanting to get a new car, but now's not a good time because the interest rates are so high, so the payment will be too high. So instead, I'll just keep my money in the bank for a while. So I'm not buying what?
The consumer goods.
Consumer goods. Instead, since I'm saving, what am I actually buying?
Capital goods.
Capital goods.
But when do the interest rates go down?
We're not done. Need more arrows. So now the business owners, like Best Buy, all of a sudden the lines are short. They got plenty of inventory. Plenty of washers and dryers and refrigerators and big TVs and sound systems. Less demand is the act of.
Consumer, wait, what?
Demand is the act of buying. And there's less buying going on at the Best Buy and all the other businesses.
So they blow it.
So they don't need money to borrow, right?
Yeah.
They don't need to borrow money, so less demand means less borrowing on behalf of the business firms. So here we go, Gabby. Now we're back to the banks. If the business firms aren't coming in to borrow money, all of a sudden the banks have all this money in the vault to lend, and nobody's borrowing it. To get people to borrow their money, what will they do?
Lower interest rates.
Lower the interest rates. That, fire drill?
And it's lightning outside.
Alright, Nasta, no talking, we're gonna go right and then downstairs.